Welcome back to the Dublo Railway, and you are not imagining it. In the foreground is an old Triang A3, I think they are, Flying Scotsman from about 1967-68. These weren't produced in this livery for very long. I have a couple of them, neither in pristine condition. This is an untampered with 2-rail version. I have a 3-rail one. What this is doing is it's getting a run on my newly restored 2- and 3-rail circuit. We had a problem here with the transformer that ran this circuit, and it just degraded slowly to the point where it wasn't working. So while this circuit was out of commission and I was hunting around for a new transformer, I thought I'd take the opportunity to do a little bit of rewiring, and you'll see that a little later on in the video. You'll also see this running, just so that it is not a completely Hornby Dublo-less train. I have a couple of Hornby Dublo Pullmans behind it, and if you can see in here, this Pullman is effectively a converter coach. Now, if I take this one off and just hold it up to the let me get some light on this. Hold it up to the camera. You can see that it's just held on with a screw. Now, what somebody has done is, very thoughtfully in this case, they've taken a Hornby Dublo Pullman coach and they've put a Wrenn bogie on it. That bogie there is probably a Wrenn bogie. And that allows me to hook these Pullman coaches up to Wrenn locomotives, in this case a Triang one, Triang Hornby I guess. And the other thing it allows me to do is to run trains with more than the 3 Hornby Dublo Pullman coaches that are available. I can put some Wrenn coaches on here if I can get my hands on them for a reasonable price, and run maybe not quite realistically long trains, but trains that are a little more realistically long than two or three carriages. Anyway, let's get this old plastic thing running and see how it goes. Okay, well, let's see how all this works. Now, what you can see here is the 2- and 3-rail track leading into some Hornby Dublo 2-rail points with some 3rd-rail attachments. And believe me, they are not necessarily long for this layout. These points have proved to be really troublesome. Anyway, leading along, we have another set of points, and we come to the terminal rail, which is an Atlas piece of track, and again that's got a 3rd rail. Now, the idea of this track is that I can run 3-rail things on it. Obviously, that's the majority of my locomotive stock, but I do have some 2-rail items. I don't necessarily convert everything I see to 3-rail. There are certainly some things that I would never consider converting to 3-rail. And I have friends who turn up here with 2-rail items who'd like to run them on this layout. So this is a really good way of doing it. Now, how is this made possible? Well, if we come over here to the switchboard. Just excuse that car going past. The garage doors are open, even though it's a winter's day here. It's really sunny. Now, at the moment, you see 3 switches on the left, switch to the off position. Those 3 switches activate, each one activates 1 rail of the 3 rail circuit on this made up piece of 3 rail track. The 4th switch along, the switch that's in the on position, the 4th one from the left, is the switch that activates the 2 rail circuit. That's on at the moment, and that is what allows the Triang, I think it's a Triang, or is it Triang Hornby, Flying Scotsman with the 2 Hornby Dublo Pullman coaches to run around this layout. And I actually have a 3 rail one of those, which dates from, the same year obviously, but somewhere in the middle 80s, after it had been through a few accidents and was looking a bit worn. I thought, well, I'll put a 3 rail Markland skid under it and see how that goes. Well, not terribly well. It was never a good runner as a 2 rail runner. The one that you have seen running is a much better runner. And so anyway, in theory, I can have 1 Flying Scotsman running on this track and another one running in here. This is a Dublo railway, so they're not things that come off the shelves very often, but I thought it was a good opportunity to show you what is possible with this track. Let's refresh the palette a little bit and move to some Wrenn motive power. Still 2 rail, and there's a reason for this. What I've got behind this is a Hornby Pullman from the 1980s, I think. This has subsequently been updated by Hornby, and behind that I've got my 2 Hornby Dublo Pullman coaches. Now, there's a substantial difference between these, just in terms of look and detail, and there's also the difference in scale length. I think you can probably see it there if I pull back. Now, as far as I know, this is still not to scale length. I stand to be corrected on that. These certainly aren't. Anyway, let's see this little train run. It's a fairly short Pullman consist, but it's what I've got. What I think becomes obvious is just how smooth this Wrenn locomotive is. Now let's really get down to business. This is a 3 rail Duchess of Atholl. It's sitting on the modern track, and we're about to see it run. How that is achieved is this and this switch flicked to on, the 2 rail circuit is shut off, and we're running from the same transformer. We'll try for just a nice bit of slow, smooth running. See the whole train go past. I'm going to run the same train with Neath Abbey. Again, this is a 3 rail engine. And the thing about this circuit of 2 and 3 rail track is that the minimum curve on it is 3rd radius. We actually have some 4th radius curves on here, and the castles really, really like it. I don't know how many of you noticed that on small radius Hornby Dublo curves, the castles really make an uncomfortable sound some of the time, especially the ones with the original motors in. Anyway, let's see this do the run along the 2 and 3 rail track, and you'll get, because this is on cork, you'll get a completely different sound than you get off the Hornby Dublo tracks. Nice smooth action. Just to finish up, I make the point that what's enabled me to run these consists is the fact that I can either couple up to a Hornby Dublo coupling with the, shall we call it, the adapter coach. If I just pull that back a little bit, maybe you can see that. Or I can hook these Hornby Dublo coaches up to a Hornby or a Wrenn or some other engine on the 2 and 3 rail track. Of course, that gives me enormous flexibility, and it will, in the coming weeks, play host to at least one 2-rail engine, which is a new Hornby A4, which I think a friend of mine is bringing over. So we'll see that running on here, and we might do a comparison with a Hornby Dublo A4. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.